The golden evening sun filtered through the glass chandeliers of the grand ballroom, casting a warm glow across the marble floor. It was a wedding that the entire city had been waiting for, the union of Anya Malik and Rayan Shah, two famous families, two wealthy names, and yet beneath all that glamour, something poisonous hid in plain sight. Anya stood in front of the mirror in her bridal room, adjusting her diamond necklace. The heavy crimson lehenga shimmered under the soft light, her reflection as flawless as a painting, but her lips curled slightly with arrogance. "Finally," she murmured, "the Shahs will know what real class looks like." Her best friend Zara, sitting on the couch, smiled nervously. "Anya, you're really lucky. Rayan's family is so decent, his father's name alone." Anya cut her off sharply. "Decent," she scoffed. "Rayan's father may be rich, but they're new money, Zara. They don't have our family's grace. I'm marrying him because my father thinks it's a good match. But honestly, Rayan's boring. Sweet, yes, but not my type." Zara looked uncomfortable. "Still, he loves you a lot, you should." Anya waved her hand dismissively. "Love doesn't buy respect, Zara. Appearance does." Outside, the groom's procession arrived. The sound of drums, laughter, and cheering filled the air. Rayan Shah in a cream sherwani smiled humbly, nervous yet full of hope. He wasn't a flashy man. His father, Mr. Shah, had built his empire through years of hard work, once a mechanic who turned into one of the biggest automobile manufacturers in the country. Rayan adored his father deeply and had grown up learning humility and kindness. When Rayan entered the ballroom, all eyes turned toward him. He looked elegant, calm, and proud not of the wealth surrounding him, but of the love he thought he had found in Anya. As Anya walked down the aisle, gasps escaped the crowd. She looked breathtaking, a queen in red, yet her eyes didn't search for Rayan. They searched for admiration, envy, and attention, and she got plenty of it. When she reached the stage, Rayan stepped forward and extended his hand to help her up. She paused, and instead of taking it, she tilted her head and said loudly enough for people nearby to hear, "Careful, Rayan, don't wrinkle the lehenga. It probably costs more than your entire wardrobe." Laughter rippled through the guests. Rayan froze, embarrassed. His hand fell to his side, his face flushing. He forced a small smile, thinking maybe she was just nervous. But it wasn't nerves. Throughout the event, Anya made one sharp remark after another. When Rayan tried to speak to her, she interrupted him. When he smiled at her lovingly, she looked away, talking to her friends. When his cousins praised her beauty, she smiled graciously. But when someone complimented Rayan, she laughed softly, saying, "He's cute, but not exactly husband material, right?" It was cruel, and it was deliberate. What Anya didn't know, as she kept insulting Rayan in front of their guests, was that an older man stood quietly near the corner, unnoticed yet watching every gesture, every smirk, every word. His eyes were sharp, his jaw tense. Mr. Shah, Rayan's father. He had arrived late, without any announcement, wanting to surprise his son. But what he saw instead was the humiliation of the boy he had raised with love and dignity. And he said nothing, not yet. He simply watched and waited. As the evening progressed, the wedding rituals began. The guests whispered among themselves, some uncomfortable, some entertained. Anya's arrogance had become the main topic of gossip. When it was time for the ring exchange, Rayan's hands trembled slightly, not because he was nervous, but because he felt the sting of humiliation deep within his chest. He slipped the ring onto Anya's finger gently, whispering, "You look beautiful." She smirked. "Of course I do. You think I'd ever look anything less on my big day?" The audience laughed again, and Rayan lowered his eyes, trying to keep the ceremony smooth. But the breaking point came during the family photographs. The photographer asked for a picture of the bride and groom with the groom's family. Mr. Shah, still standing silently at the back, finally stepped forward, smiling warmly. "May I join my son and daughter-in-law?" Anya turned, saw the older man in a simple grey suit, and arched an eyebrow. "Oh, you're Rayan's father," she said, pretending surprise. Rayan quickly said, "Yes, Anya, this is my dad." Mr. Shah smiled kindly. "You look wonderful, Beta, truly a beautiful bride." But instead of thanking him, Anya looked him up and down, noting the plain suit, the modest watch, the lack of designer accessories. Then she laughed softly and said, "Well, I can see where Rayan gets his simple taste." The room went silent. Mr. Shah blinked slowly, his expression unchanged. Rayan's lips parted. "Anya, please." But she waved him off. "Relax, I'm joking, it's fine, don't be so serious." It wasn't fine, not even close. The photographer clicked the picture, but the moment felt hollow. Rayan's heart sank further. His father, however, remained composed, his silence more powerful than any anger. Later, during the dinner, Anya stood with her friends, laughing. You should have seen the look on his face. Poor Rayan, he can't even defend himself. I guess he's too used to being the quiet one in the shadow of his rich dad. Behind her, unnoticed, stood Mr. Shah again, hearing every word. But this time he approached. "Excuse me, Beta," he said politely, his tone calm. "May I speak with you for a moment?" Anya turned, her smile fading slightly. Sure." He led her a few steps away, into a quieter corner near the garden doors. The lights from the ballroom reflected on his calm face, his eyes kind but deeply disappointed. "I've been listening to you all evening," he said softly. "You're beautiful, well-educated, and confident, but you're also unkind, and that destroys all beauty." Anya froze. "Excuse me." He nodded slowly. "You don't have to like me or even respect my background, but you humiliated my son, your husband, in front of everyone who came to bless you both. That is not confidence, Beta. That is cruelty dressed as pride." Her jaw tightened. "I didn't mean anything. You're taking it too seriously." "No," he said quietly. "You didn't mean love. That's what's serious." And with that, he walked away. Anya stood still, her throat tight, suddenly aware that people nearby had overheard. Her friends avoided her eyes. For the first time that night, she felt something strange, unease. The celebration ended coldly. Rayan escorted her to their new home, silent the entire way. Days turned into weeks. The wedding that had begun in grandeur quickly became a silent household. Rayan had stopped trying. He spoke politely but distantly, spending most of his time at work or with his father. Anya, used to attention and control, found herself ignored, something she had never experienced before. One evening, she overheard Rayan talking to his father in the living room. "She doesn't respect me, Dad," he said quietly, "but I won't disrespect her back. You raised me better." Mr. Shah smiled faintly. "I know, Beta. Some people take longer to understand the value of love, but when they do, it changes them." Anya, standing in the hallway, felt a strange ache in her chest. That night, she sat alone in their room, scrolling through social media. Pictures from the wedding were everywhere, but the comments strung. "Did you see how the bride mocked the groom? Poor guy looked so uncomfortable. Money can't buy manners." Her fingers trembled. For the first time, the mirror didn't show her a queen, it showed her a stranger. A few days later, she went to visit her father-in-law at his office. When she entered, he looked surprised but welcomed her warmly. "Anya, what a pleasant surprise." She swallowed hard. "I came to apologize," she said softly, "for everything I said that day, and for how I treated Rayan. I thought I was better than him, but I see now I was just empty." Mr. Shah stood up, his eyes gentle. "It takes strength to admit that. I forgive you, Beta. But remember, respect isn't a gift you demand, it's one you earn." Tears welled in her eyes. "Thank you." That evening when Rayan came home, he found Anya sitting quietly at the dining table. No makeup, no arrogance, just her. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "for all of it." He looked at her for a long time, then smiled faintly. "You don't need to say it, I already forgave you." And for the first time since their wedding, she smiled back, a real smile. The humiliation that began with arrogance ended with humility. And though their love would take time to rebuild, Anya never forgot that moment, the night she realized that the man she mocked was stronger, wiser, and far more graceful than she ever was. Behind her pride had stood a man, not just a father, but a reminder that dignity never needs to shout.